Ah, sweet, sweet weekend water.
Oh boy.
It is a joy to be here.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Stayfhomekins, a quarantine podcast.
Quarantine podcast. Married couple.
Married couple. I'm Paul F. Tompkins.
I'm Janie Haddad Tompkins.
We're married to each other legally.
Yes, we are. Last I checked.
How often do you check?
Every 2 weeks or so.
Wow. That's very frequent.
Just want to make sure. Just want to make sure.
Are you worried that it's going to be a thing where something wasn't signed and it turns out we're not actually married?
No, because I remember the whole signing situation.
Right. Do you know what I just hung up in my office?
What?
Is our marriage license.
Is that a thing to hang up? That's funny.
It's such a weird thing to have. And I came across it and I was like, I'm going to slap that in a frame and hang it up.
And they asked for it. I remember because I added Tompkins to my name. Mm-hmm. So I had to go through the whole rigmarole. I know it's not modern.
That was a huge
ordeal. I know it's
ordeal.
not modern.
Yeah. I was surprised. I was surprised when you wanted to add my name to yours.
And I didn't change my, I didn't lose Haddad.
Right.
I kept the whole thing.
But it was like a legal name change to add my name at the end.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is you don't think about all the things that affects.
I don't, for me, it was I like a lot of names.
Is that really all it was to you? It was just an opportunity to add another name? What a weird thing you put me through. First, I was surprised. I never asked you to do it.
He never.
I was surprised when you did it.
He never asked me to do it.
Then I started to feel kind of touched by it. Now it turns out it's just for your collection.
Wait a minute. There were many reasons. It was not a simple, well, this is the reason. It was just I have my own certain feelings about it. Mm-hmm. And I also like a lot of things.
Like a lot of names.
And I did not want to lose my maiden name. Mm-hmm. I know some people who get married and they don't like their given name.
Yes.
They're like, oh, I can't wait to get rid of, whatever.
I've known those people too.
Whatever their, whatever. Whatever.
Scrap chat.
It's like smashed penny or whatever.
Smash what? No one would ever change that name. Is it hyphenated? Smashed penny?
Paul has a whole thing on the smashed penny. It's a comedy bit he did from a long time ago.
Wait, that's somebody's.
Remember
the idea of that
penny?
is somebody's last name.
Because Penny's a name.
My name's Teresa Smashed Penny.
Smashed Penny.
Is it hyphenated?
Mr. Smashed Penny. No, it's all one word.
Oh, it's Smashed Penny.
Smashed Penny. Mr. Smashed Penny. Like Money Penny. Like Money Penny from Bond.
That's right. Or Eric Money Penny.
So good.
The only Money Penny I've ever met in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Wait, who is that again?
Eric Moneypenny, he's an improviser. He's a very funny UCB guy.
Right. Yeah. Yes, of course. I've never met.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm not. It wasn't like a gotcha.
I had a moment where I was like, I'm supposed to know who this person is.
Oh, what a feeling that is. That's such a bad feeling.
I've been there. You don't know how many times I have lived in that moment.
I guess I don't.
Myriad.
You've been hiding this from me.
All the time. All the time.
This is escalated.
You're never in that moment. You know everything.
That is not true.
No, you know everybody, everything, every reference. It comes to you. You can pull it. You could pull it. You pull it.
Once that was true, honey. Once that was true.
Still true.
No. I'm a shadow of my former self.
Oh my God.
This is the Lion in Winter.
What? Already? No.
Yeah, he was 50. Lion in Winter. The king turned 50.
What?
I'm older than him. Older than King Henry II.
That was old then. That was older. You know how money,
it's true.
Money is different. Like, even, you know what is funny is I was like, remembering this job I had in New York, and I remember my salary.
I hope you, okay, yes. Okay, now I see.
And it was like in 2000 that I was offered this particular salary. And I was like, I wonder how much that salary is in today's money.
Yeah.
And I went and typed it in, and it was like a lot more, but it wasn't like a lot. It was just that was, and I remember like when I was interviewing for the job, they were like, this is the pay. And like, they kind of gave me the hard sell, and I didn't know anything about, for me, this was just like a day job. So I could like audition after work or whatever. And I didn't know, like, people were like, oh no, I want this amount. And I was like, sure, whatever. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I took that pay.
Yeah.
But I should have like taken the clue in the moment of like, they're expecting me to come back with a different number.
Right.
But like, that would have had to have meant that like I cared about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as if this job was important to you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, it was important in the sense that it was going to help me pay my rent.
Yeah, but it was not like, this is going to be my career. Yeah.
Oh, admin assistant? Yeah. Not going to be. I mean, nothing wrong with admin assistant.
We need them.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I had just.
They have to assist the admin being administered.
But I had just gotten. Oh,
excuse me, a hiccup.
Someone's weekend water got underway early, and it
wasn't
mine.
Old-fashioned he cough.
We started late tonight.
It's true. I was doing a benefit Zoom show earlier in the evening, and then I had to eat my dinner. I eat dinner. I eat dinner every night.
I ate dinner while
that's one of my quirks.
He was doing the Zoom show. I ate dinner while I was watching TV.
Yeah, because we're a modern couple.
Wait, so is your Zoom show available, or is it what?
Do you know what? I don't know if it's been archived or not. If it is, I will put it up on the Instagram.
Okay.
On the stayfhomekins Instagram.
And was it, what was it to benefit?
The NAACP Legal Fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it was like people paid to tune in, and that was.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
We're in an era of pay-per-view entertainment. Yes. And we're able to raise money that way, which is.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Well,
that's one of the upsides of everything that's going on right now.
Well, thank you, Paul, for joining Stay of Homekins tonight.
What if you'd started without me and I just came in when I was free?
Like that time
you'd love that.
Like that time,
you'd love that.
Like the time I answered the door and you were still talking, and I came back and it was like you'd said the same thing. We've been getting such nice mail. I have to say. So many people on our feedback, like in terms of our mail and our socials, they're like, oh my gosh, like, please don't stop doing the podcast or whatever.
I am a royal Nigerian person.
No, they're like, please don't stop. And it made me feel like we had said we were already done or something.
Well, yeah, I think we've intimated because we say it's a quarantine podcast. I think they're saying keep it going.
Okay, but here's the funny thing.
Here it comes.
There's still a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not going out. I think I even.
And people keep going out without masks to make it continue.
And guess what? I'm not going to do it. Here's the thing. Someone was like, oh, I think they were like, please don't stop it or whatever. And when the quarantine is over or whatever. And I was like, well, considering we're not going to any concerts or parties on Friday night, I think we're going to be still doing it until we are, I was like, I'm not really planning any, I don't know what. What are you, unless you're planning to.
No, I guess it seemed when we started it seemed like a finite amount of time.
Yeah, like maybe we're like 8.
Yeah, and now it doesn't anymore.
8 episodes. Now it feels like it's a prison sentence.
Do you know what though? I feel like we got to Zoom with somebody.
That's what Ellen said. That's what Ellen DeGeneres said. Quarantine felt like a prison sentence.
That's right.
And people were like, you're a rich lady.
Yeah. Yeah. That was on Ellen's best material.
By the way, I wasn't saying quarantine felt like a prison sentence. I was saying the podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
All podcasts feel like prison sentences. That's the ugly truth about podcasts.
So you want to zoom? You want to zoom someone on the
Zoom with somebody with some friends
on the episode?
No, in life, in our lives.
Oh, in life.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen anybody. I don't know. I was
supposed to see Catherine, and then we rescheduled to tomorrow.
It's true.
Like we were gonna sit across her backyard together.
How many olives do you have in your mouth right now?
There's just half an olive.
You got it in there like a Halls.
I know. It looked like I was like a chipmunk. Like I was storing like acorns.
I got a bad cough. I've been taking these blue cheese olives.
They are blue cheese olives, y'all. Paul got me these blue cheese.
I got you the blue cheese olives.
I'm trying not to chew them on the microphone.
That's very considerate.
So I feel like.
Do you want me to fill the time?
Can you vamp?
I miss seeing our friends. I really do miss seeing our friends.
I know.
And it's like I feel like I've been pretty stoic about it for a while in that way. Mm-hmm. And then it's just now I'm at that point where it's like I really miss seeing the people that we see.
I mean, I talked to my friend Samantha today. I was like, we talked on the phone. It must have been like an hour or so. Yeah. And we used to see each other at least once a week. Yeah. I mean, that was like, for however many decades of our friendship, like like we've been friends for like 20 years or something crazy. And it just like dawned on me like, oh my God, like I miss seeing you. Mm-hmm. So we had to talk on the phone, but
it's nice to have a regular thing like that. I always admired that about you and your friendships, that you keep them up in that way.
Really?
Yeah.
You think I do? Because I feel like
absolutely.
Sometimes I do not.
You have people in your life that you make. You have regular time for them. You have regular time for each other, and you make it happen. And I think that's a really good thing. And I feel like I love stuff like that because it reduces the feeling of chaos in your life. Mm-hmm. And we live very sort of chaotic lives because of what we do.
Yes.
And I think probably other people who are sort of freelance operators have that same thing. Mm-hmm. Or maybe if you have a job that has weird hours and you feel like you're not on the same schedule as everybody else. And I don't know. I think that's such a healthy and good thing.
Wow.
It's good for your soul to do it. Well, you're welcome. I guess I'm just jealous.
I don't know. Well,
I've not been able to enact that in my life.
But you have that kind of regular standing thing with your own projects. Like you're so like,
yeah, I know.
You're kind of like, I don't want to say workaholic. That's not the right word, but like,
it's become a way that I see my friends is through work things.
That's true.
And that's not bad, but like I don't want that to be the only thing.
Right. Like if you and Scott, like you're always like you talk during Comedy Bang Bang or Threedom or whatever. Yeah. And that's like a standing thing kind of.
Yeah. But it's not the same.
Yeah, I know.
It's just not the same. And I feel like that's a thing that I want to make. I want to make an effort to do.
In the
when we can,
post pandemic,
when it feels a little safer.
But
we did see our friends Mike and Cynthia. We talked about it last week.
Oh,
we saw them in a socially distanced way, which was
across the yard or whatever. But
it was really nice.
Well, I have to say, like when I do see people, and I ran into Felicia at the grocery store. We were in the produce section in masks, and we stood. We had a bin of apples between us. But it was weird because like
that's a CDC recommendation, right?
If you can't keep 6 feet, pick some produce.
Get a bin of any standard produce bin.
It was apples. They were apples. But I'm just saying, like, the thing that is bothering me about pandemic life, besides just the crushing uncertainty and the fear of,
is it the pandemic life tattoos we got? Why did we do that? And they're both misspelled, but different ways.
LYF for me. LYF.
Mine says pandemic. I think it says pandemic.
At least it doesn't say pandemic.
You know what, honey? Silver lining.
No, is that because of the way our lives because and we're actors or whatever, and we're like on call all the time, before the industry shut down. Especially me, because I never work. I never get hired.
That's not true.
I never get hired. And then when I do get hired, my stuff gets cut out of things. But that's another story.
That's not always true either.
That's another story
for another time.
But because I have been trained to be so fluid in my day to day, where I don't it's an annoying thing when you're an actor, because you do have to be on call all the time and be ready to be I'll memorize 10 pages and be there first thing in the morning, blah, 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 blah. So you can't really plan whatever. But because of that, I had a lot of spontaneity in my life. When I would run into people, if I ran into someone, you could easily be like, oh my gosh, do you want to finish and have a coffee in the coffee shop or whatever? And I sort of became accustomed to living that way, and only feeling comfortable that way, kind of having so much spontaneity, and then now it's okay, if I plan to see you, let's arrange it, around this time, blah, 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 or whatever. And it feels like a totally different gear shift.
Yeah.
It's such a mild thing to complain about, and I hope I'm not sounding like I'm complaining as much as it's just been more of an adjustment.
No, and I think everyone can relate to that. I mean,
it's one of the small adjustments.
Yeah. There's a pleasure in running into someone that and then making a plan on the spot,
Well, and it just feels like we've lost. I mean, I hate to say it because it's become political, but we've lost freedom in our daily interactions, because, and also I still can't see my mom, who's in a high risk group. I can't, whatever, and we've lost some of those freedoms, which maybe is not the right word, but flexibility. Because freedom is the whole thing about I'm gonna wear a mask or I'm not gonna wear. Okay, I have a question for real, because I don't understand how the mask thing became political and why.
It's so because people just want it to be over. People just want it to be over, so they're deciding that it's over. This is a real psychological test for all of us, for the entire Earth. It's crazy.
Well, what's annoying to me about the mask thing is the newest information that's coming out is literally hey, 2 months ago, if everyone wore a fucking mask, it'd be half gone or something. Yeah. And I'm y'all do over. We need a do over. Yeah. We need a do over, because this it's now it's out in the wild or whatever, and people are in denial, which I want to be so bad in denial about it.
There's this dumbass ex-baseball player. I don't want to say his name, but he's one of these dudes that sits in his car and makes videos.
Yeah, I wish I were.
It's my favorite genre of dude.
You know who started that?
Who?
Chewbacca mom. You remember Chewbacca mom? And you know what? She's someone we all could look toward, because she got joy out of wearing a mask.
I'm sorry. If this is what she spawned, Chewbacca mom, and I hate to say this, you're canceled.
No, she got joy out of wearing a mask. She should come back on the scene.
No. First of all, she did not start that.
She made it popular.
No. These dudes have been doing this. Chewbacca mom is the anomaly.
Do you think she's okay?
God, I hope so.
Has anyone?
I feel like there was an effort to cancel her for something.
Why?
I forget why.
She should not be canceled. She had joy. She was literally.
Look, I know.
All right, so the guy was in his
She was
car.
the Chick-fil-A sandwich of Chewbacca moms.
She was, whatever.
So this he's a complete tool, and he sits in his car.
What's his car?
Well, you can't tell. It's just the inside of the car.
I bet it's a muscle car.
I'm sure it's some SUV, no doubt, But he's saying, he doesn't wear a mask because he's not a sheep.
Wait, do sheep wear masks? What is that all about? I think it should.
He's not just blindly obeying this rule.
But why did he say I don't wear a mask because I'm not like a surgeon or a welder or something, like instead of like a sheep?
Well, because those people have legitimate reasons to wear masks. He doesn't wear a mask because he's not a mindless drone who just does what he's told.
Oh yeah, well I have news for him. A lot of people make those car videos. So
that's exactly right. Yeah.
So if you're such a nonconformist, what's your game, dude?
Here's the best part.
What's your deal?
Here's the best part. He's wearing a seatbelt while he talks about this. And he's talking about
what a sheep. What a sheep.
Exactly. He's talking about a thing that is absolutely just a common sense advisory that, sometimes it's like the state tells you this rule is in place, and it's a common sense thing. There's nothing political about it at all.
You know what?
At all. Hold on a second.
Okay.
So somebody wrote to him and said, hey, I think numerous people pointed out to him, hey, you're wearing a seatbelt. And his response was, yeah, I break the rules, but not the law.
Okay. So if mask was a law, he'd wear a mask.
It stands to reason he would, and he wouldn't be a sheep then. He would just be a law-abiding citizen.
Here's what bugs me about the mask thing, and I know I just said it in a different way 5 minutes ago, is that if we all did it, we might not have to wear a damn mask.
Well, that's the...
Like if we all just decided,
yes,
you know what?
If everyone just did it for a short amount of time.
Like if we stayed at home and people stayed at home and now we're distancing and people are distancing. But the one thing that the most scientific evidence is saying, it could tamp it down or whatever. It's just so annoying.
It's maddening.
Also, by the way, I know this is going to be controversial. When I exercise alone outdoors, I'm someone who only employs my mask if someone is in my eyesight.
Yes.
Which is, by the way, allowed. It's allowed.
It's allowed.
I know the science. I follow the science.
Yes. But
you're saying, I know you're like a mask wearer, even if 20 feet around you is completely...
Well, to me, back before when it looked like we were flattening the curve and everything was improving, I would do like a mask on, mask off thing. If I saw people, I'd put the mask back on. But now I just wear it all the time. I just wear it the whole time.
Well, I let Michael Osterholm, who is an epidemiologist from the University of Minnesota.
Who's this fucking guy? I'll punch his fucking lights out. How do you know this guy?
I know him because I follow the religion of epidemiologists.
Okay.
I go to church every week, and my church is coronavirus podcasts.
Sure.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I look up the science. I read about it.
Do you think we're in that genre?
No, we are not. We offer nothing.
Do you think this episode will get us in there?
No.
We had a lively discussion about it.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. I'm going to write a letter.
But being outdoors and distance is relatively safe.
Yes.
That is and he even said on one of the recent things, he's like, people are upset when people are at the beach and they're not wearing masks. And the irony is that's probably one of the safest outdoor activities that you can do without a mask.
Well, and it's also why the protests are not responsible for any spikes in COVID, because people are outside and they're wearing masks.
Well, a lot of them were wearing masks.
Most of them are wearing masks, if not all. I mean, every time you see those protests, people are wearing masks, and
Well, except for Antifa.
Oh, is this the one time they don't wear masks?
I don't know who Antifa is.
Oh well. Look, I don't want to get into it. Of course, I'm a member. I got my membership card. I have my uniform. I don't want to out the guy who's the head of Antifa. I shouldn't even have said it was a guy.
What if you had an aunt named Aoife?
There absolutely is someone who has that.
My Aunt Tifa.
There's got to be a Tifa who's somebody's aunt.
Oh, Aunt Tifa. But then you could do the Aunt Tifa. You could do the Aunt Tifa. But
Right.
if you have an Aunt Aoife, you might just be like Aunt Aoife, Antifa.
But
Wait,
if you're
Antifa.
saying Aunt Tifa, you're not. If your aunt's name is,
Antifa?
if your aunt's name is Tifa,
Aunt.
Aunt Tifa.
Aunt Tifa. I don't say aunt. I say aunt.
That's wild because you grew up in the South.
No, it's because I grew up in the South. I say aunt. That's hillbilly speak, honey.
Is aunt?
Yes.
I've heard ain't, like ain't be.
Ain't be. I'm just saying.
Ain't Phyllis?
My Aunt
You got your Aunt Phyllis?
I do have my Aunt Phyllis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speaking of protests.
Please stop protesting our podcast.
No, I'm having a problem with these people who get upset about the Confederate statues because, first of all,
you have to very quickly say which side you're on here. Because that was a very open-ended thing that you just said.
I don't give a fuck about Confederate statues, and I think they should come down because
there we go.
They're hurtful. They're hurtful.
Yes, good.
Okay, y'all. I'm someone who actually likes that Mitch Landrieu guy, and now I'm going to get a bunch of messages like, oh, you don't know how he was in New Orleans. He messed up the city council or, named it whatever or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care because I like the guy, and I read his damn book, and he's a Jesuit, and he's a nice seeming man. And he took down the statues in the middle of the night, and you know what? I say... Good for him because of how he did it.
Right.
Because he was like, fuck y'all.
Did he do it like without telling anybody?
Yeah, took it down in the middle of the night. Well, he wasn't him alone. Like, he worked
of
with
course.
other...
Everyone has to fucking vote on it and all that nonsense.
Well, I don't know if there was voting as much as he worked with other, activists and, city officials, and they were like, this is how we're going to do.
Right.
This is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. My whole point is this, because right now in Charleston, where I grew up, there's this statue on Calhoun Street of this guy, John C. Calhoun, and apparently he was a vice president or something, and he was a total racist.
He was horrible. I did a report on him.
Oh, you did? Oh, Jesus.
In history
See,
class.
I don't even know anything about him, and I grew up going, and you know what?
Oh, he's not a good dude.
I went to high school on Calhoun Street.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know, whatever. And the whole thing is they want to take it down, and they kind of can because of a couple reasons. One is he's not even a Confederate person. He died before the Civil War.
Right.
So it's not protected under the Heritage Act or whatever, the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Number two, people don't want it up. And there's been thousands of signatures on this petition.
Yeah.
And then number three, it's on private property, and the people who own the property are like, yeah, we don't care. You can take it down. So the mayor is like, okay, we're going to take it down.
Right.
And then there's 5 or 10, crazy white supremacy people that are like, where does it end? And we have to go. We have to go. And my concern is some thread on Twitter. Well, there's a statue of George Washington in Washington Park in Charleston, and we're going to take that down next. And where does it end? And it's like, okay, first of all, I grew up in Charleston. There's no way that these people hang out at that statue. That they go.
Right.
I barely noticed its existence.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But they're going there to protest it on the weekend or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's going to be their first time at that statue.
Yeah.
To save it, number one. But number two, this is what kills me. Is there no other... Have they never seen other sculptures or statues in their lives? Because I've been to a sculpture museum before.
Right.
Where I've seen amazing, majestic, dramatic works of art carved into 3 dimensions. You could have anything you want.
It's very true.
Anything
There's a rich variety of shapes
that are
in the
like
world.
incredible and like moving
Mm-hmm.
and dramatic and have like some positive message
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like brings the city alive and on top of that, it can be like a fun new thing, like, oh my gosh, we have this brand new shrimp sculpture or whatever, and we're a city that eats a lot of shrimp.
Yeah.
And then people come and love it and they take pictures of it. Now, I'm just saying that because that's a neutral item. But what I'm saying is it could be anyone or anything or any piece of art or creativity or something representational even. And like, and it just, I hate these people because I just hate them.
Yeah. The thing about statues is there's something that's extremely, for something that's supposed to be a monument to someone or something, they're extremely ephemeral because you walk by them and if you see the statue of John Calhoun, it just says like John Calhoun. Maybe there's like a few details about his life on a plaque, whatever.
Right.
It doesn't give you don't really get a sense of what his role was in history, why he warrants a statue here.
Right.
Well, and so I feel like statues are things that can periodically be taken down and replaced.
Yes.
For as long as we need to remember the thing. So like what they could do instead is they could put up a statue honoring the 9 people that were shot in that church.
Oh, you mean a block away from it?
Yeah.
By the way,
yeah.
on Calhoun Street.
So that's like something that would be informative and moving and actually serve some sort of respectful and serve some sort of purpose rather than this statue of fucking John C. Calhoun.
But people are acting like they're digging up someone's grave.
Yeah, I know. Honey, that's exactly right.
Like they're like, oh my God, you're exhuming the grave. I mean, like his. By the way,
they're acting like they're gonna like puppet his skeleton around town.
Not only that, like basically the relatives of this man who still live in Charleston were like, yeah, it's time for it to come down. Like there's someone who like wrote a thing or whatever,
right?
And then people are like, where does it end? God, if they took that Washington statue, if they took the Washington statue,
fucking
down,
take that down
like,
too.
Also, by the way.
Who cares?
Who cares?
There's a million statues of that guy. He also had slaves. Like, you know what I mean?
Also, didn't his wife sew the flag? Why not the lady?
No.
Oh, she didn't do it?
It was Betsy Ross,
Whatever.
honey.
He wasn't married to Betsy Ross. Who was she married to?
Martha Washington.
Who was she married to? Ben Franklin?
No. What? What is this fan fiction you're doing with the founding fathers?
I don't know who these people are, and I don't give 2 shits because I'll tell you something. This country is sick. It is sick.
That's true.
It is sick and it needs healed. And if they were alive today, they'd be like, yeah, take my thing down.
Honey, guess what? You sound cuckoo. Does anyone hear the cuckoo clock?
I can hear it in my earbuds.
Oh, you can hear it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I make reference to it every time it happens. No one can hear it except me.
I was grumpy last week. I'm not grumpy this week. I would like to apologize.
Honey, you have nothing to apologize for.
That's goddamn right. You're right.
Oh, what a bait switch.
Anyway, so tell me more things about your life.
Well, in Philadelphia, where I'm from.
Oh, my God. Statue City.
There's...
Isn't it a lot of statues? A lot of statues.
That's what they call it. Statue City. There's a bunch of vigilantes who are protecting the statue of Christopher Columbus.
Oh, right, because he was like a colonial. He was like, here's what's funny. I get we had this Columbus Day thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You know, like when it comes around.
No.
And then I don't care.
Yes.
So
it's a Columbus Day. Everything surrounding Columbus is deeply embarrassing, and we should sort of forget it and act like it never happened. It's bad. And these dudes.
Why do we even have a celebration of him? Is it like a holdover from like the British Empire? Like,
he discovered this wonderful land that we now call home.
Okay, whatever.
Which is also not really true It's
How is that a big accomplishment anyway? Like, he just sailed around and he was like, oh, there's
well, and also the thing that we were taught in history when I was growing up is that he thought he was going to India. That's why the Indians are called Indians.
Oh, so he wasn't even good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't know how to read the freaking map.
Yeah.
He was like,
okay. There's much evidence that he was a shitty dude, but the fact that he has a tie to Italian heritage.
Is he Italian? I thought he was Spanish.
No, he was sailing for Spain for Queen Isabella to the New World.
Okay.
But he himself was not Spanish. He may have been Portuguese. Like it's all fucking murky and messy and stupid.
Right.
But it's cemented in a lot of people's minds that he was Italian. He's a great Italian hero. He discovered America. We should honor him. And in Philly, where there's a lot of stuff named after Columbus, there's a huge Italian-American community there. I'm half Italian.
And you're from Philly.
And I'm from Philly.
You're part of it.
No. And I'm saying he's great. Yes, I'm part of the problem. But these guys protecting the statue in the wake of the protests.
They're there all the time?
They're standing around with fucking bats.
Oh, God.
And
guess what?
It's mortifying.
You know what? They're doing bad. They're doing worse for Italians than Columbus did. Like it's like
no one will. I say this as an Italian.
It's trashy.
No one does more to make Italians look bad than Italians.
It's trashy. Yeah. It is so trash.
They love The Godfather for the wrong reasons.
I do like The Godfather.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Well, Godfather 2.
It's a great movie, but it's like it's adjacent to the people that think Scarface is great and they think Scarface, the character, is great.
Oh, like they're into the wrong people.
They like it for the wrong reasons, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're not like, oh, wow, crime is bad.
Yeah.
They're like, crime is badass.
It's like if you watched The Shawshank Redemption and you were like, yeah, that warden, he's awesome. He's a cool dude.
I have to take your word for it on that one.
How have you never accidentally seen that movie?
I've seen accidentally clips of that movie, and I'm good.
It's all right.
Doesn't he crawl through a sewer pipe or something? Yeah, okay, I don't need to see it. Like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
That part actually is, you don't really... It's done in such a way that it's not super gross.
It reminds me
it's more the idea of it.
The new Les Mis on PBS. The one.
Oh yeah.
The one with Dominic when Dominic West plays Jean Valjean.
And they were in that sewer for a long time.
He plays Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did they do that? Ew.
What have you not? So what's like a big movie blind spot? A thing you haven't seen that you want to see?
That I want to see?
Yeah. That actually sounds good to you.
Oh. Well, wait. We did say we were going to watch Valley of the Doll.
That's true, but we got to talk about Showgirls.
Oh my God.
Follow up.
Wait, that was just last week.
That was just last week.
Oh my God, it's been a year since we recorded. It's been a year.
That was just last week. It's been a year since we recorded.
It has been. Oh my God, y'all! I watched Showgirls with Paul
for the first time. You'd never seen it before.
And then we had to borrow it from Mike and Cynthia. And
that's right.
Because of their hard wired analog Netflix subscription.
That's right.
And
yes, the disc had problems.
The disc was messed up. It did.
Yes, it was scratched up. But here's what's really funny, which I didn't think about, was we paused it at one point, and this you know how now usually in the olden days you would pause a disc and it would just be a freeze frame.
Mm-hmm.
Now when you pause things, everything's streaming. When you pause something, it's just a freeze frame, but with like a counter, maybe there'll be like a little rectangle of the frame that you're on, in the bottom.
Right.
So this was in between those things. There was a little still of the actual frame you were on in the lower third of the screen, but with a weird fancy frame around it.
Yeah, you took a picture. You're going to have to post it on
I'll post it on the Instagram. I'd never seen anything like this. It's so weird that somebody went and did that.
But it was like, because like in the old times when you had this DVD and it was like the homepage and there was like music and like areas that you could click on.
The same
it was like
30 seconds of music would repeat over and over again. If you were really unlucky, there would be like dialogue, people saying things that you had to hear over and over again. If you were you went to the bathroom, you went to the kitchen or something. So this was,
yeah.
I'd never seen this before, ever. It was wild. I will post a picture of it.
I was surprised. Also, we kind of started it late, and that's like a death sentence for me. Like, I'm usually like asleep.
Death sentence.
But I will say this much for Showgirls, the movie. It captured my attention to, like, I saw it in one sitting. I did not go to sleep.
Yeah.
I did not fall asleep. It is an astonishing movie.
It's nuts.
It is so beyond surprising in its tone and execution.
Yeah.
And also, like, kind of at times beautiful, like great production values.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And some performances are actually inspired in it. Well, I like Gina. I thought Gina Gershon was very interesting in it. Like,
yes. She played it perfectly. Here, I will say, actually, the only person that comes off kind of like they don't know what they're doing is Elizabeth Berkley. Because she was directed
Yes.
So we watched a couple days later, we watched the documentary You Don't Know Me.
Which was great.
Fantastic.
Highly recommend.
Yes.
But, okay, so the whole reason I watched Showgirls is because I wanted to see You Don't Know Me. That was like my whole reason for seeing it.
Right.
Because it had somehow escaped my whatever. And I was like, well, maybe I can watch the documentary without seeing Showgirls. And Paul was like, no, you have to see Showgirls.
And I was right?
You
because
were right.
If you had not seen that movie,
I would have been kind of like, what
can you imagine?
It's definitely it's a companion piece. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I thought the documentary was awesome because it had sort of this sweetness to it in a way, where it wasn't like just being mean about a movie because it was, campy or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, it really did examine everything.
Absolutely. It's very scholarly in the best sense. It's not dry, but it's not just a snark fest. It's really good. It's really well done.
Yeah, I don't think I would have liked it if it was a snark fest.
Yeah.
I think I would have been like, that sucks, because like these are real actors. These are real, but so what we found out in the documentary was basically that like Elizabeth Berkley's kind of like energized choices in the movie that are like,
that's a great way to put it.
were very much constructed by the director, and and it kind of bummed me out in a way because, like, I guess like her career it suffered from, I think, from being in this movie.
I think so, yeah, because it was a huge public bomb that she looked bad in.
And she's in every scene in the movie. I mean, like,
every fucking scene.
And she really went for it. I mean, like, she's so, like, she's like nude in it, like, all the time. And like so physically committed and stuff. And like, it kind of bummed me out because you realize, oh, she's the kind of actor that actually would kind of probably be a joy to work with, because she's like, okay, like, I'm just going to trust you. Like, you have your vision, and I'm going to go, if this is what you want, I'm going to go for it. And in a way, like, that's a real, like, amazing creative spirit to have as a performer.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there, other than she just took the heat for the choices.
Yeah.
She wasn't a seasoned enough movie actress to be like, you know what?
No, this was like the publicity surrounding the movie was, she's coming from this kids sitcom, which she'd just done, and now she's going to be fucking
a sex pot,
nude all over the place in this raunchy movie.
And clearly had trained as a dancer, Yeah. So anyway, that was the only bummer about it. Because a lot of people do survive weird performances. Like, look at guys. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves, and this is like no knock on him, but like there is a time when people might not have taken him seriously.
Oh, there was a time when people absolutely did not take him seriously, and he got bad reviews for a lot of things when he tried stuff early on, And he was in that. There was a Kenneth Branagh. Was it Much Ado or something like?
Oh yeah,
and he was in that. And
he was like he played like he was like in love with here. Yeah, it was like Much Ado. Yeah.
And there was a lot of jokes about it, and he's just a guy who he's
actually not
persevered,
bad at it.
and I admire people for trying things always.
Yeah.
But that said, I probably didn't when I was younger. I probably made fun of stuff like that. But now that I'm older and I see people trying to do something different than what they normally do, I'm like, fucking good for you.
Well, look at like Matthew McConaughey. Like he was also like sort of, people.
He's a special case.
But like the guy, he's an amazing actor. I mean,
he's terrific.
I didn't find Elizabeth Berkley's performance. I didn't think it was bad as much as I thought it was eccentric.
Well, it's extremely heightened. It's there's a lot about the movie that's very cartoony.
Yeah.
And she's...
Which they point out in the documentary.
Yeah.
They point out some of the funniest, holes in the writing, really, that have nothing really to do with her performance as much as, some of the writing.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed. I love... I thought I was okay with them poking fun of the writer.
Yeah.
Even though I found out he wrote Flashdance, which is one of the world's greatest movies ever made.
This guy, Joe Esterhaus, who was, very briefly the king of Hollywood, and then that was it.
Oh, I'm sure he's a gazillionaire because I bet I bet his script fee was it's $3 million.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Joe Esterhaus.
I mean,
who I love is Kyle MacLachlan. I love him every
he's
time
a really
I see
good.
him.
Yeah, he's really good.
And
Twin Peaks.
God, he fucking commits in this thing,
He almost has to do, in my personal opinion, more embarrassing things than Elizabeth Berkley does.
He has to treat it all like it's real, like it's serious.
But also, he plays a total tool.
Yeah,
he's playing.
Yeah.
He's playing someone in real life that you would make fun of. You'd
For
be
sure.
that guy drives that car. Give me
Yeah.
you would hate that person.
Yeah, you would.
Wait, can I just point out something funny that they didn't point out in the documentary?
Oh, scoop.
Okay, so in Showgirls, there's this Fabio kind of guy. Yes. Who's essentially this heartthrob, celebrity of Vegas.
Yeah, like a famous singer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but he's also a complete criminal felon, on the loose or whatever. But what was crazy is in the documentary when they're and then Joe Esterhaus, and they show a picture of Joe Esterhaus, they clearly cast the Fabio guy because he looked identical.
They made him look like that.
Joe. So then I'm well, did Joe Esterhaus, is that the character that he identifies with or something? Because why would he make him look like that guy
but then there was
no
story,
good guys in it.
There was some story about Paul Verhoeven, the director, and Joe Esterhaus having a falling out during the production.
That was the reason?
And it might have been a revenge thing. I don't know. It could be that we're just reading into it. Who knows?
Which is my theory of why Betty Draper was made to be fat in that one season. That there was some kind of
right
resentment toward that actress. Probably because she wouldn't.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, that's my theory, because why would you treat one of your best characters in that way, where it's she has this unexplainable weird story that doesn't look believable and you have to put prosthetics on. I'm just
And it was not to hide her real life pregnancy, right?
No. It was just a strange detour from her character arc.
That she's going to be fat now.
But also what they didn't make it they were oh, she's going to be fat now, but they were trying to make it seem like her beauty had faded. But her beauty never faded. That actress is a beautiful actress. And so it was come on, guy. I mean, do a different storyline. It was weird. That was the one storyline in Mad Men. I was kind of this is so bizarro. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't feel organic in any way.
History will be the judge.
Well, I'm sorry I went off on a tangent about that show. But I was just saying, in terms of how you treat your characters, as a writer.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you love them?
Yeah. Well, I don't know that you have to love them. I think that you have to have some empathy for them at least. You know?
Well, they definitely made that guy look like Joe Esterhaus, and I don't know what that
100%.
was all about.
100%.
Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I will say he gave us Flashdance, which is an awesome movie that totally holds up. With a fantastic soundtrack. I'm serious. It is so good.
But see, that's
It's really good.
Can I say as somebody
You've
who saw
never
Flashdance?
seen it until I showed it to you.
That's right.
Like 6 months ago or
yes,
something.
exactly. So do you see what I'm saying?
I'm saying that, like, I guess, like, you don't really see the importance of it, but it was.
No, because I didn't have that attachment to it. I didn't have the attachment of youth to it that you did.
But as a young, as a tween, I mean, I was pretty young.
You were a tween welder, and you were like, "Where's my story? I need to see myself up there."
I liked it because it did kind of I swear to God, it felt feminist. I'm sorry, it did.
I totally I understand that. I totally see that in the movie.
What our audience
However, that doesn't mean that it's good.
I was like so obsessed with it to the point where I wanted to do the stage version of it, and Paul was gonna play the comedian, and I was gonna play the best friend that ended up stripping at the club.
I remember you talking about this.
And then she comes and rips me out, and we're standing in the rain, and I'm in a trench coat because I can't skate anymore.
Right.
You know,
that's right.
And you're my comedian boyfriend, and I had like this whole thing, y'all. I wanted to do like a stage version of it. It may still happen. It may still.
We won't be in it, but it may still happen.
No, I think it'd be funnier if we were in it. We were like.
I would like to see a stage version of Flashdance with an all middle-aged cast.
I think that. Why not? Why not?
Why not? Indeed.
And remember, I was gonna make Paget play. The Jennifer Beals. I had the whole thing cast. I can't remember. Like,
you have to dig up that file.
With JK, I was like so excited.
Did you actually write this down at some point?
I think I may have, because I was convinced that y'all were really gonna do it with me.
Was Justin gonna be like the Michael Nouri role?
Yes, Justin Kirk. That's right. Justin Kirk was going to be Michael Nouri. and Paget was going to be Jennifer Beals. And I was going to be the skater friend.
Listen, if you want to see us do this,
and then Paul
text one for yes and two for no.
Paul was going to do this stand-up comedy guy, but his comedy was actually going to be good instead of bad.
Right.
In it. We were going to rewrite Joe Esterhaus. Yeah. Is Joe Esterhaus still alive?
I don't
know. Joe
know.
Esterhaus, if you're listening.
Joe Esterhaus, if you're listening.
I'm sorry they cast.
Text one for yes.
That guy that looked like you, that is a terrible.
I'm not sorry. He's a creep.
Criminal. Well, but Joe Esterhaus isn't. We don't know him.
I think I remember that he was not the greatest guy.
Really?
Also, look at the stuff that he wrote.
What? I'm telling you, Flashdance is a feminist piece of
garbage?
No. All right. I can't deal.
All right. We got to wrap it up.
I can't deal.
So our joint recommendation this week is You Don't Know Me.
You Don't Know Me.
Nomi.
You Don't Know Me.
Documentary about Flashdance. If you haven't seen Flashdance, good luck, because we had to get a disc of it.
You mean Showgirls.
Showgirls. Sorry. Flashdance. If you haven't seen Flashdance, see it.
Stay.
Okay, yes. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week.
Yeah, because we're not going to any concerts, parties, or sporting events.
Those are the 3 things we're not doing. In the meantime, stay safe, stay sane, and stay home.